Your brain is one of the most powerful tools in the universe, capable of processing massive amounts of information in fractions of a second. Recognizing patterns, solving complex problems, and even imagining entire realities that do not exist in the physical world. Yet despite this extraordinary capability, the human mind has one subtle weakness that often goes unnoticed. It makes assumptions. It fills gaps in information automatically, often without conscious awareness. And riddles are designed specifically to exploit this hidden tendency, forcing the brain to slow down and question what it thinks it already knows. They are not tests of intelligence alone, but tests of perception, logic, and attention to detail. And as we move through these challenges, you'll begin to see how easily the mind can be led in the wrong direction. The first riddle immediately demonstrates how language itself can become a trap for the mind. When you hear, "I have no brothers or sisters, but this man's father is my father's son," your brain instinctively tries to map relationships quickly, often assuming complexity where there is actually simplicity. The key lies in decoding "my father's son," which refers back to the speaker themselves, since no siblings exist in the equation. Once this is understood, the structure becomes clear, revealing that the man's father is the speaker, meaning the answer is that the man is my son. This riddle shows how easily perspective shifts can completely change meaning. The second riddle plays on expectation and sequence, creating a situation where the mind rushes toward obvious objects while missing the logical starting point. In a dark room containing a candle, a stove, and a match, most people immediately think about what they would light or use first in general terms. However, nothing can function without ignition, and that simple requirement is often overlooked. The correct answer is the match, because without it, none of the other objects can be activated. This riddle highlights how the brain often skips foundational steps when processing scenarios. The third and fourth riddles shift into abstract thinking, where language becomes symbolic rather than literal. The more you take, the more you leave behind initially feels paradoxical. Yet it describes footsteps, something created through movement rather than removed. Similarly, the idea of something becoming larger, the more you take away from it, leads the mind toward physical size changes. But the answer is a whole which expands as material is removed. Both riddles demonstrate how literal interpretation can mislead reasoning when the answer relies on conceptual thinking instead of physical assumptions. The fifth, sixth, and seventh riddles rely on cognitive misdirection, where the brain searches for hidden complexity even when simplicity is the actual solution. When asked what 4 and 5 are if 2's company and 3's a crowd, many people assume a deeper pattern, but the answer is simply 9. The riddle about traveling around the world while staying in a corner refers to a stamp, and the object with hands but no ability to clap is a clock. Each of these challenges reveals a common mental bias, the assumption that difficult questions must have difficult answers, when in reality simplicity often holds the truth. The 8th and 9th riddles introduce linguistic and psychological tricks, where meaning shifts depending on interpretation. The letter-based riddle involving minute, moment, and 1,000 years demonstrates how language structure can completely change perception, revealing the answer as the letter M. Meanwhile, the idea that the more you share something, the less it becomes reflects the nature of secrets, which lose their exclusivity once revealed. These examples show how riddles often operate not in logic alone, but in language, perception, and human behavior. The final riddle brings everything together through imagination and abstraction. Asking what speaks without a mouth, hears without ears, and comes alive through sound. While many people imagine something physical, the answer is an echo, a phenomenon that exists purely through reflection and environment. It has no body, no consciousness, yet behaves as if it responds to sound itself. This final challenge reinforces the central theme of all riddles. The mind often sees complexity where simplicity exists, and overlooks obvious answers while searching for hidden depth. By the end of these riddles, the real lesson becomes clear. The purpose is not just entertainment, but awareness of how the human brain processes information under pressure. It reveals how assumptions form, how patterns are interpreted, and how lie perspective can shift understanding. Sometimes the smartest answer is not the most complex one, but the one that requires stepping back and rethinking the problem entirely. So when you reflect on your score, remember that riddles are not just puzzles, They are mirrors showing how your mind works when it is forced to slow down and think differently.